part 9 of literary terms. Now, next is satire. Satire, uh, you know that 18th century was the age of satire. So, what is satire? Satire is derived from the Latin word satura, which means medley or mixture, right? And it is deeply rooted in Roman literature. And its masters are like Horace, who employed this gentle mockery. Juvenal is there, another uh, master of this genre, this style. And if you talk about the late English writers, as I told you, 18th century, that is John Dryden, Jonathan Swift, they were the masters of this particular style. You know that 18th century was an age of satire. And why it was? Because of the political rivalry between the two parties, the Whigs and the Tories, and they used literature as a kind of medium to, you know, ridicule the other one. So that is why this was an intense age of satire, the 18th century, right? Right? So you can see Jonathan Swift, who uses satire as a kind of powerful literary weapon against corruption and human folly. So satire has a higher purpose also. Satire has a purpose to ridicule, to expose the bad things, the evil things in the society or in people. Okay, and it has higher purpose also. It has got a curative purpose also. The purpose, higher purpose is that one thing is that you draw fun. Okay, you mock certain rules or institutions which are uh, uh, not in shape. Second thing is it has got a higher purpose. The higher purpose is correction of those follies, correction of those vices. Like in 18th century, you see that the society was uh, artificial. So you see there these dramatists or these writers, they expose the hypocrisy of the society. So this is what satire is. Satire means uh, mockery, gentle mockery. Okay, it uses humor, irony, and also exaggeration because you want to expose some moral failing or vice. You want to bring a change. You want to expose a certain issue, right? So that then you use these things: humor, irony, and some sort of exaggeration. And you criticize this human failing, human weakness, political hypocrisies, or societal flaws. There are certain flaws in the society, so they are exposed through satire. And the higher purpose is to bring a change, a positive change. Okay, so it not only entertains, but it also challenges readers to think critically so that a change can be brought in the society, in the political system, or in human behavior or character. So there is some higher purpose also, that is correction of those things. The best literary example you can quote is Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels, where you make fun of or ridicule human pride and government corruption through these voyages which Gulliver takes to different islands. Okay, modern examples, you can see that one politician, uh, ridiculing another. Okay, you see a lot of phrases going around now. There is election in Bihar, so there are a lot of words going around. Some there are, I don't want to use them because they uh, may be creating some kind of political controversy. So uh, we'll leave that aside. You know that how people, political parties, they ridicule each other. एक दूसरे का मजाक कैसे उड़ाती हैं. You know that. Nothing hidden from that. Then the short story. Next uh, term is the short story. Uh, Now, a short story which emerged as a distinct literary form during the 19th century. 19th century में आके short story जो थी वो एक distinct literary form बनी, and it was uh, championed by writers who understood that brevity could have extraordinary emotional power. You know that you have learned about poetry, drama, novel, but there is some kind of force in short stories as well. And this thing was realized uh, during 19th century. Edgar Allan Poe, he theorized that a short story should be readable in one sitting and create a single unified effect. Okay, this is the definition of a short story, which can be read in one sitting, because a novel is a uh, long one. It takes days, maybe months, for you to complete it. And a story is something which you can finish in one go, one sitting. And it deals with a single theme and creates a single effect, unified effect. You want to create tragic feelings or comic. Okay, so you have a single plot which leads to a single resolution or single end, right? Then there are other writers who popularized this short story, like Nathaniel Hawthorne, Hawthorne, and the guy D. Maupassant. Okay, what? So typically, what is a short story? So typically, a fictional narrative which is under 10,000 words and focusing on a single incident, character, or theme. Okay, and it has got precision because it has to tell the entire thing in a very precise manner. So that is why, what are the features of the story? It can be completed in one sitting, one go, uh, typically under 10,000 words, and which has got a single plot. Single plot means it moves along a single line. That is, there is a single incident, character, or theme. Because if you deal with multiple themes, incident, and characters, then it will be difficult to complete it or keep it precise. So precision is one important aspect of a story. So that is why it deals with a single incident, character, or single theme. Okay, then you have some examples like O. Henry's the Gift of the Magi, which you went through in your third year, right? And every day, uh, examples are also there. You can also create short oral stories or stories which you can write, okay, on different themes. Then comes the sonnet. Sonnet, you have already learnt and you know about it. Sonnet, which comes uh, from Italy, from the word sono, okay, which means a song. So it is a poem of 14 lines, which has got 14 lines, right? And the earliest form of sonnet is the Petrarchan sonnet, which has got two parts. One is the octave and another is a sestet. Okay, so 8 lines and 6 lines. But it was modified by the Elizabethan sonneteers like Thomas Wyatt, Henry Howard. You know about them. Philip Sidney, Edmund Spenser, William Shakespeare. So all of them, they innovated and they produced their own sonnet series. Like Geoffrey Chaucer, sorry, William Shakespeare, he has written around 154 sonnets. Then we come to the next topic, which is the three unities. Three unities in drama, which are the rules of the classical drama. You might have studied this in Aristotle in your literary criticism course. Okay, he talks about three unities. What are the three unities in drama? Unity of action, time, and place. Okay, so these three principles, which have been derived from Aristotle's Poetics, and they were used by the French neoclassical dramatists like Corneille and Racine. Okay, and they were an influence on 18th century dramatists in England. So these three unities are unity of action. That means action, they should have one main plot without without much distracting subplots. तो यूनिटी ऑफ एक्शन का मतलब है कि कहानी एक ही लाइन में चलनी चाहिए. It should not have multiple subplots. Every scene must advance the central narrative. जो central narrative जो main theme है, every scene should complement that particular theme. Okay, so that there is dramatic intensity. से क्या होता है? For example, there is a character, and you watch a movie where the action moves in a single line, where it is moving towards the tragic end. So you will find their intensity is much higher. But if you uh, intersperse, or if you use comic scenes in between, there are a lot of subplots, then you lose that intensity, right? But if you create, like you might have seen some action movies where there is a serious theme which is being dealt with, so these subplots are kept to the minimum to create that intensity. So this is what unity of action means. That means you have one main plot without much distracting subplots, and every scene, every subplot complements the main plot. Okay, thereby creating the focus and dramatic intensity. Next is unity of time. So Aristotle was of the view or opinion that all events should eventually happen within these 24 hours, within a particular day and night period. That means they should not stretch to months, years together, right? So that is what is meant by unity of time. Okay. What is the use? What is the benefit of using this unit of time? Because it creates a kind of urgency, because things are happening very fast and in a straightforward manner. Okay. So then next is unity of place. That means the action should take place on a single location. Right, जैसे फिल्म में आपने देखा, you might have seen a lot of movies, even in a song, you see the first location is some city in Bombay, then beach, next it shifts to a beach in Goa, next it goes to Paris, then London. So there are a lot of shifting of these places. But Aristotle was of the opinion that there shouldn't be frequent shifting of place or setting. It should, the action should take place in a single location, right? So that there is no escape for the characters. Okay, so these are the three unities, the classical unities, which were uh, prescribed by Aristotle: unity of action, time, and place. Okay, examples you can quote that Oedipus Rex, that has all these three unities. You have some one act plays which take place on the stage. They are also an example, like a single day school play with one storyline, one setting. So that is what, there is no change of stage. There is no change of the time period is also limited to typically uh, maybe 24 hours. And also the action is limited to one theme, one particular plot, main plot. Okay, next, last, I think, is tragedy, which is tragedy you have already studied in Aristotle. That Aristotle has defined tragedy as a kind of serious action. Okay, and this definition comes from Aristotle itself. Okay, and it originated in ancient Greek drama, and which explore the fundamental questions about fate, justice, and human nature, where a noble figure, because of a tragic flaw in his character, not in his character, but an error of judgment kind of thing, which leads to his or her downfall. So the hero is a person of noble figure. The hero is a noble figure, right? So because of destiny or some error of judgment, that is what he call as hamartia, which is defined by Aristotle as a personal error of judgment or personal flaw. Okay, then which results in tragedy. And the higher purpose of tragedy is to evoke, okay, a feeling of pity and fear, and a cleaning of these emotions from the audience, right? So, what is tragedy? It is a serious action, focuses on a noble figure, a noble character who falls. His downfall is caused not by some moral flaw, ऐसा नहीं है वो उस मॉरल कमी है उसके अंदर, बल्कि एक एरर ऑफ जजमेंट, पर्सनल फ्लॉ व्हिच यू कॉल एज हेमर्शिया, okay, which leads to his downfall. And the purpose of tragedy is to evoke the emotions of pity and fear, and a purgation, a cleaning of these emotions from the psyche or mind of the audience. So पहले उनको ये feeling देना, pity and fear. So when they go through those emotions of pity and fear, so they come out as, relaxed, right? जो ऑडियंस है, पहले उनको डर लगता है और दया, और उसी इमोशंस जब उनके अंदर से बाहर निकल जाती है, देन दे फील लाइट, दे फील फ्री. ओके, so this is what is defined as tragedy. The tragic hero, Aristotle has very clearly defined, is a character of high status. He has got noble qualities, but his downfall is caused by some fatal flaw, some error of judgment, not by some moral weakness, but because of a personal flaw that is called as hamartia. Hamartia is the tragic flaw or error in judgment that leads to the hero's downfall. उस गलती की वजह से जो एक एरर ऑफ जजमेंट होता है, एरर ऑफ जजमेंट क्या हुआ, जो सही को सही और गलत को गलत जज नहीं कर पाता, बिकॉज ऑफ दैट देयर इज अ ट्रेजेडी इन द लाइफ ऑफ द प्रोटोगनिस्ट और द हीरो. कोई कैरेक्टर वीकनेस नहीं है उसके अंदर, कोई मॉरल वीकनेस नहीं है, बट एक मिस कैलकुलेशन, ठीक है, एक गलत अंदाजा दैट कॉजेज हिज और हर डाउनफॉल. देन जो एंडिंग है वो it is it is generally a death or separation or irreversible loss, and it evokes two feelings, pity and fear. Kyun? So that these emotions are cleaned from the psyche or the mind of the audience. Okay, cleansing the audience, higher purpose ye hai unko darana aur dhamkana nahi audience ko. When they go through these emotions, they come out relaxed. Okay, that is what the higher purpose is. So Hamlet is a masterpiece of tragedy which you can quote. And then there is another term called tragicomedy. Tragicomedy, where you combine both the elements of tragedy as well as comic elements are there, serious and comic elements. That is what is known as tragicomedy. William Shakespeare, he was a master during Renaissance. He has written a lot of tragicomedies. Okay, so it has got a serious theme coupled with some kind of humor in between. Okay, there is comic relief also, like uh, Merchant of Venice. Okay, you can see there is seriousness. One person is willing to take the hurt out of another, and there are comic scenes in between also. So there is tragic, serious as well as comic scenes intermixed in tragic comedy. It has got a mixed tone, and unlike tragedy, uh, in tragic comedy there is forgiveness or reconciliation or salvation which is achieved at the end. So it has got a kind of happy or satisfying ending. Okay. Then Merchant of Venice is an example which I quoted, and you can understand it well because you have already gone through this. So why these forms matter? Because you have to understand these things to uh, to understand various themes in the text, and they also act as creative tools. So you can also bring out your own creativity, whether you want to write a poem or you want to create a story or craft a story. So you can use these terms, these tools